Camera's still acting funny. I don't know. Okay. Morning, everyone. Well, okay, this is gonna be interesting. So let me do this. That way, I'm still talking to the PC. Also, I'm talking to you guys. All right. So, morning, guys. I'm Clint. Welcome to our introduction to Xamarin event for Microsoft Student Ambassadors. Today we're actually joined by Takudzwa. He's one of the Microsoft Student Ambassadors. In fact, he's the Student Ambassador for Use It. So they have another community for Use It. Same thing as this one. He figured he'd come and join in on today's. So thanks for everyone who came in person. Thanks for everyone who's online, because I can see a few of you now. It's, I think 4. It's not bad. It's a good start. So the way we're going to go about today is we're going to take a look at Xamarin. A lot of you guys are beginners, so you might not know what that is, which is fine. Nah, sorry, it's fine. So as we say, today's event is mainly based on mobile application development. Everyone here, hopefully, has a phone. Most of us know what a mobile app is, right? And if you're the type of person who's tried to look at mobile apps or just mobile operating systems in whole, you've probably come across what's it called? iOS and Android. You've seen that there's a difference between the two. And if you are a developer, naturally, mostly, you would be in a position where you have to develop for the two separately. So what I mean is this: if you're an iOS developer, you're likely going to be coding in Objective-C or Swift. Those are the languages for making iPhone apps or iPad apps. If you're an Android developer, you're likely using Java or Kotlin. There are other ways to go about it, but those are what we call native frameworks, or rather native languages. It's essentially the language that's closest to the operating system, and at least when the operating system started, that's how you made apps for it. Today, though, we're going to be looking at something that's a little different. I'm going to load up my browser here just for a sec. Oh yeah, let me try and split this so that the screen is showing something different. Let me see, Microsoft Learn. So in case this is your first time, let's see. Come on, why are you doing? There we go. In case this is your first time joining us, we have most of our sessions, not all of them, based on Microsoft Learn. It's an online platform that has free learning materials for pretty much almost anything. Like if you're trying to learn a new language, if you're trying to jump into something today, IT related or software engineering related or just basic business stuff even, Learn's got your back. So today, we're gonna, let's just to take a small look at it. This is based on my profile, but if you log in, it would be showing you something a little different, to say the least. But it's essentially just, as I said, an online free learning site. So these are popular learning paths or modules. That's like a mini course that you can check out. And on these modules is where you pretty much pick what you're trying to learn. So as a fundamentals, this for Microsoft Azure, which is a cloud platform. Cloud, for those of you who may or may not know, allows you to do a million things. So it can be for storage. If you want to put a website there, if you want to put even just back up your data there, you can. If you want to do what's essentially now cloud computing or cloud processing, that's where you have a machine or a server instance that's essentially running some tasks for you, even if it's not a computer that you carry with you all the time, right? Or if you need a more powerful one. So for example, I have a laptop right now. This does not have the same amount of power as a supercomputer. If I want to do something that's very, very complex and I'm trying to create some simulation of how, I don't know, Bitcoin will perform over the next 5 years. I technically can do it with my computer. But the problem is if I do it with my computer, it will probably take my computer 5 years to finish that calculation. So that's where using cloud computing or more powerful resources comes in. So we've got Azure, we've got stuff that's more, let me actually just jump into here where it says roles. Scroll down here. This stuff is based on like what you're trying to learn based on a role you're trying to get. So IT administrator, AI engineer, app maker, that's basically an app developer, auditor, if you're a software auditor, business user. So again, you could be someone who's not really into the IT side of things. You could be someone who's doing something like FE, e-commerce. There's still stuff for you here. Data analyst, data engineer, right down there, student. That's like stuff that's very beginner friendly. Go here where it says products, then say browse all paths. Just give it a sec to load. Sorry, the internet's a little wonky. Oh, wait, sorry, I'm using your internet. Sorry. But yeah, so we get here, and this is where you start dealing with like a whole learning path. So if I say learning path here, when it comes to selecting criteria, let's see. Again, Azure fundamentals, this is in alphabetical order. So just in case you're wondering, Microsoft Power Platform, there's stuff like Python, there's stuff like Java, there's stuff like C#. So that's now like your basic programming languages. Let me search Xamarin here, because that's what we're going to be doing today. And we can start diving in. Let me see here. Building mobile apps with Xamarin.forms. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. So let's start right here at the introduction. Then I'll let you guys look through that for a second whilst I actually set up a few things that will be required for just make sure things are looking okay on the teams. Oh, wow. I'm really sorry. I hadn't realized for those who are attending online, you guys hadn't seen some of the stuff we're looking for here. Let me share. Let me just share my screen to make it easy for you guys. There we go. So now you should be able to see everything everyone in class sees. Sorry about that. So this is an introduction to the Xamarin.Forms learning path. Creating a mobile app with Xamarin Forms, written right at the top there. So just reading off of the introduction. Xamarin Forms is a framework for creating cross-platform native mobile apps with C# and XAML by using Visual Studio. So some of you may be a little aware of the tools that are in Microsoft's developer ecosystem. Visual Studio is one of the most popular ones. Suppose you work for a national grocery store chain. The chain wants to expand their loyalty program with a mobile app, right? The new app allows one-touch dialing to the store and also pushes notification about special offers when the user is at the store. The app therefore needs access to some hardware features, right? So as they said, it pushes notifications when you're at the store, meaning there's some version of location tracking, right? So if you go to the store, that's when you get that notification. There's a very interesting thing about how apps are developed today, which is technically, if you're developing for mobile, you probably might not need to make a full mobile application, right? I'll give you an example. I have a personal website that I run called the Zimbabwean Perspective. It's a tech-based site. Maybe I can actually show you after this for a second. But if there's one thing I've noticed about my website is that I don't need to turn it into an app, right? People just go there, read tech news, learn some things. That's about it. I don't need to turn that into an application. C sharp. You guys, some of you, beginners, so I know you might cover C sharp or more of this. That's fine. C sharp is a programming language that works usually hand in hand with what's called the .NET framework. It was, okay, I'll be honest, I would have dived into this field, but I forgot exactly. It started the thought, I do guys. But basically, historically, C sharp has always been linked to a lot of desktop applications. Most of the apps that you have, if you're running Windows, there's a huge chance that they may use C sharp, right? Whether it's an old, like, when you see those applications that still look like they have an interface when you Windows 95 something like so, like 8 bars and so on and all that, that's C sharp. And then there's newer stuff. I mean, let me show you something like this previous. This is also C sharp. It's just using one called the universal Linux platform, which is a newer app platform, which makes C sharp absolutely imperative. Don't you dare judge the testing the same. So going back into this, sorry, let's just make sure. Okay, seems like it's dude, if you can present for me for the if you can present for me for the you could have just put even like that picture. I see. Yeah, wait. Okay, so since I can't be in that area and in India at the same time, whilst I basically go back. Okay, hi guys. Sorry, we just had a minor network issue. I think we're back though, and we can continue. No. Oh, yeah, no one was supposed to hear that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We're just having some technical. But okay, as we said, C# is newer for some of you people, but don't worry, we'll just get into enough of the basics for you to understand Xamarin, and then we'll continue. As you'll see, it'll actually tell you this module does require Visual Studio 2019. And you can use a Windows Mac device. Make sure you have the mobile development book installed. Let me actually show you a bit of that so that you guys know what's being done here. Do you have Visual Studio? You're good? Cool. So you can all right. Let's roll right that like you can even start from like scratch. Yeah, almost from scratch, just so that yeah, because okay. So first things first, what we're using is Visual Studio 2019. You'll notice there's a lot of Visual Studio products. There's Visual Studio 2019, there's Visual Studio Code, and even in Visual Studio, yeah, there's multiple different versions of it. So you can get a little confused, but basically, radio community, mine is an enterprise one. Don't worry about that. But you can still use Visual Studio Community. You jump in there, you look at it. It's essentially, yeah, something like that. So what I was trying to do is he's already clicked create a new project. For those in us, they're probably seeing this. That's the and in this case, what we'd be making is a mobile app, Xamarin Forms. But for those of you who don't know exactly how that works, or the mobile workloads that was being talked about, I'm going to show what's called the Visual Studio installer. I don't know if I can find that. If you just search it on actually, I mean on your search. Visual Studio installer. Like on the on that search bar. This one. No. Yeah, the main search bar. Windows start menu search bar. No. Once already because what I have Visual Studio 2019, my review is close to 40 something. That's because I threw in a lot of stuff. I do quite a bit of C# development and a few other things. So yeah. So mine is telling me. Has multiple packets. I can show you. I don't know if So on that view, it will often actually show you what you can, what you can add to Visual Studio, because usually when it starts or when you first, this is all, it's just going to tell you to try and install C# and come out of framework, and that's about it. So the other stuff, especially the mobile development stuff, that we're talking about, Xamarin stuff, it's kind of a little basic, it's like an add. But anyway, enough of that. I'll install Visual Studio, I'll install and it's fine. So that's cool, right? Okay, great. So back into this. And go, yeah, go back to that. Okay. So if you scroll down here, that's learning objectives. Every Microsoft Learn module will have this, right? It's going to show you what's it called, what the learning objectives are, what will be required. I'm sorry, and what you're going to do throughout this is learn the basic structure of a Xamarin Forms app, define a shared UI for Android and iOS. So as we said, you're creating an app that works for both, right? So when you create the user interface, that user interface is going to be on both. For those in class, you all know what a user interface is. If I'm asking, it's okay to just say I have an idea. It's fine, really. Anyone? Okay, yeah, Mukarakate can show the guys in class, but basically the user interface is what you're using, right? You see this graphical stuff? This is a user interface, all of this. So yeah, that, you see all of that, that's literally. Exactly. It's the same application. It's the exact same application. You guys can learn all sorts of that. Yeah, thank you for that. So, oh yeah, and then you have to deploy that from Visual Studio to Android or iOS, right? And then dial a number from within the app. So we're going to continue and go into that. It's loaded on your end as well, right? Cool. Okay, let's continue. So first thing, create a Xamarin Forms project in Visual Studio, right? Let's read this a bit. The pattern most often used for mobile app development is to develop twice, right? Once for Android, once for iOS. This involves dealing not only with separate SDKs, but altogether different languages and tool sets. You get it? So in other words, if you had an idea for an app today, it's pretty awesome. You had to learn 2 programming languages for all the weird rules that, let's say, iOS has for itself. You have to learn the rules that Android has for itself. Ibasa, to put it in simple terms, and it's not always fun. So let's see here. This involves dealing not only with separate SDKs, but altogether different languages and toolsets, right? Xamarin Forms allows you to work in one integrated development environment with one language. You create your once, and both iOS and Android use that UI definition, including the actions and events you code. Unlike some other cross-platform solutions, Xamarin Forms isn't rendered in a web view. To put it in simple terms, there are other forms making apps that run for everything, but as I said, that's essentially web apps. And web apps that run in a web view, as I said here. Right, so this is an explanation of the Xamarin Forms technology stack. I think we should, okay, fine, we'll play it. That to be played. Let me play it for everyone who's online as well. And let me make sure my computer audio is on so that you guys can see this. Let me see. Please, you can mute Teams. Mute Teams. from scratch, and I'll play it for people online. Okay, sorry guys, let me try and play this again. Don't know, it's, yeah, okay. Wi-Fi issue? So you don't feel like you miss on. Which I'm glad that Power is actually sharing on screen as well. So the operating system, like every piece of software running on just about any type of system, programs written for mobile devices run on operating systems, right? The operating systems provide services, including providing access to critical things like memory and CPU, crafting apps. This is very unusual. It means using C, maybe even assembly to build a whole app. So thankfully, we're not going that way. Platform is not. The next layer now is the first Xamarin layer. Xamarin.Android and Xamarin.iOS provide C# access to all those platform SDKs and operating system services. For instance, for an Android text input, iOS types. Just to scroll it back a bit, I know you guys are still learning data types, but basically, if you're someone who would have done Android development in Java, the basic, the most basic or the most common where you're going to show text or you're going to write text into a program is a data type called a string, right? Which is essentially a collection of characters. So what it's showing here is that you can use C# to use the same string that okay, yeah, you guys are separate programming languages. Learn how to use a string in C#, right? Also learn how to use it in Java, right? But through Xamarin, you can learn how to do it in C#. Did it make sense? Cool, great. Right, so Xamarin Android and Xamarin.iOS also give us .NET, including the runtime and base class libraries of .NET. So you find things like list T, HTTP, system string, etc. These are all tools that you use when you're making an app. For example, HTTP is when you're trying to connect basically a server that's on the net. You want to make a mobile app, right? You have in your server somewhere. HTTP client is what helps you do that. Okay, so HTTP client, for example, is or at least some version of that is what something like Facebook uses for them to connect to the Facebook server. So the Facebook app will be written in whatever language. I'm near certain they use React. That's another framework. But for them to connect to their server online, for you to log into your account, for you to be able to see people and so on. That, whilst also allowing some of that native stuff like that, string object access, these tools like HTTP client. Right, then there's Xamarin Forms. If we want to define our UI behavior once, that's where Xamarin Forms comes in. So as we said, the user interface is based as far as showing. You can pretty much write that once. You can show, yeah, you can show the guys in class that. It's fine, which makes it much easier. So, Oh, great. Yeah, we can even see a bit of that. No, it's not showing. It's not showing the packages. It's showing only like. Let's see. Let's say if you click install, then let's see what it does. Let's see modify. Okay, if you can say modify, it should be able to show. But thanks. Huh? Anyone else? Okay, yeah, that's so. So yeah, let me see if I can do the same on my Visual Studio and say it here. Hopefully, it might show this to the guys who are online. Let's just give it a sec whilst we look through this. Okay, yeah, it's still sorting itself out. So maybe did you cancel it when it started updating? You just let it do whatever it was doing. Okay, fine. We'll let it do in the background. Then we can show that. But for the guys in class, we can show it later. For the people in class, let's see where it says workload state, right? Those are some of the most core parts of Visual Studio. So, for example, ASP.NET workload, it's been workload stuff, right? And that's all that other stuff we're talking about. We'll jump into it, I promise. Python, the Python stuff, desktop development here. So as I said, Windows Forms, Windows Platform, UWP apps, everything. Just not development, C++, this guy is stuff is changing. I remember very confused. That's right. The mobile game. So yeah, also you can use Visual Studio to create game apps. So in fact, I can show you a Xamarin app that's based on gaming today. I think you guys will like it. Yeah, but basically this is what we do today. So mobile development on it. This is. So if you when you want to what's called jump in to do some of the stuff yourself, this is what you have to do. When you're installing the right, you know what you want to install, right? So you just click what you want and just make sure you about this and you'll be fine. Right? Great. So going back to learn, learn. Let's see here. Right, what is controls text labels JPEG as adjusted easy. All that stuff that you're used to using in an app, right? Buttons, edit text, etc. In other words, some of the design is actually just drag and drop stuff. If you're a developer, then some you'll probably write code just to make sure everything behaves perfectly. But yeah, some of this stuff you can literally just drag a text box there, put a button there, and that's it. Multiple page types for creating each. That's a draw. That are actually very important. Just go with NuGet packages that help you use third-party and other Microsoft libraries in your Xamarin Forms apps. So that is certain libraries Microsoft will give you, and then there's libraries that Microsoft might not give you, but you'll be able to use all of those when you're using Xamarin and Visual Studio. You know, the native controls, we already kind of talked about this, but again, when your Xamarin.form app runs on Android, it might include connection turn, or on iOS, it might include what's called a UI segmented control. You can always make your own completely custom controls available in Xamarin Forms. In fact, if the control already exists on Android or iOS, exposing it to Xamarin Forms is just a few lines of code. This is something that's maybe for someone who's a little more experienced, but basically if you see something on a native Android app, right, that you like or that you think is cool, you can totally take it and turn it into a Xamarin app. Or at least you can totally take that function and copy it onto a Xamarin app somehow. You just really need to know how the function works on Android. Or if you have, let's say, a friend who's a little better at native Android development, they can help you out on that. So, how to get started? Let's go into the actual stuff now. So, to create a new project from Visual Studio 2019, go into the new project dialog box and search for mobile. So let's actually go and see that, people. If I can just search mobile here, I think, but is the bot we use, show that on screen as well. I mean, okay, for him it's already showed. He had used another way of doing it. But even if you had just search mobile, like at the search bar right at the top there, the first thing that's going to come up is Xamarin Forms or Xamarin. Xamarin itself is a little complicated and a little less beginner friendly. Okay, Xamarin Forms, much easier. So for now, and also Xamarin Forms is cross-platform, whilst with normal Xamarin or an Android app at first. So you can see it there. It's actually saying Xamarin Android or Xamarin this, and you can still copy code across them. As now the same. Xamarin Forms, you make it once, and you add a much easier part for it to like put it across both.
Xamarin Forms was an up. The first percentage iOS and 700. It's important to combine the two and code once. It's two.
Cool. Okay. Okay. So we're going to just share this on the screen. Okay. There we go. Should be showing things just fine. Okay. So right now it's showing this. Okay, let's go into visual. I just have to do this straight up. So we select Xamarin.forms, we click next. We have to keep our app name. So let's say project directory. Yeah, you're gonna have to take it. This is why I said someone didn't want to listen. You see, this is what happens. This is what. Okay. I don't know, when you say create, so that's like Windows now. Okay. And come on, man, give me my. Just to make sure we can see. Okay, you guys still see. Great. Now going back to it as okay, so select mobile app. It is the name and location for the project. We already did this here, but let's see from choose select, so we adding our own custom navigation. Okay. Even the blank app comes with the starter hello. So it's not completely blank. There's a dialog where you can pick the platforms you wish, etc., etc. Okay, let's go back here. For me, I'm going with blank as well. Create. Wow, you really a project sample, don't you? Like
Just feeding.
That's what we're dealing with. Anyway, okay, so look on yours. Mine's done. Yeah, mine's done. Yours isn't. Still, no, it's okay. It's still loading. Yeah. Okay. So we'll pretty much start there. Just let it finish creating because it's still creating. And I think project creation is successful. Yeah, just give it a second. It's gonna show already, I think. I'm not sure, but it should. Okay, so pretty much same for me as well. You can see on the that's the far right. Yes, okay. On the far right, it's showing sample two. That's pretty much our app, but also like it is. I'm showing app intro. So sorry, guys, we're scrolling between what's online and offline here. Right, I'm not showing app on browser two. There's dependencies. There's the app. There's the main page. Now, if we just go back to learn for a second, as I say, what you'll see is the structure of the general solutions like this. There's the solution itself, there's the app's name. So in this case, it's showing app one. In my case, it's showing app intro. In Forest's case, it's showing, I think, sample two, app1.android, app1.iOS. Right. You notice three projects that are created in the solution, right? They'll have the same root name, in this case, app1, right? Or on the Android. These projects compile the executable programs for each platform. They are sometimes called head projects. The third project is used by the executables. That's where we put in all our code and the markup have in common. In a typical Xamarin form solution, almost all the work will happen in this third project. So in this case, there's app1.android, there's app1.iOS. Oh, he's scrolled down already. This one, it's a nice stuff. Sorry, as we say, there's app1.android, right? There's app1.iOS. Then there's app1 right at the top there, just written in C#. We're going to be playing a lot with the file that's written in C# there. And we'll put in our code, and that code will essentially transcribe iOS or Android code. Get it? We're at one place. It basically translates, to put it in layman terms, basically translates it into the other. Cool. So, as we already said, that's the project. So, taking a closer look at head projects, we can see that iOS and Android have different basic constructions. For example, iOS has a main.cs and an app.delegate.cs, whilst Android has main activity.cs. Let's actually go into the project and show this so that people can see what's being talked about here. So let's see if can you like collapse or not collapse? What's it called? Exactly. There you go. Okay, so let's go into the Android one. All right. I'll tie it up. Let's scroll down a bit. Yeah, so Android is main activity.cs. right? It's basically main activity.C#. That's basically what it should mean. But that's because if you make an Android app, the first thing that's going to be made is what's an activity is like your, from a layman's term, it's like your screen. That's what an activity is, right? Everything happening on that screen, that's the activity. So the screen, all the buttons there, all the text that's there, all the controls, functions, etc., right? Then on the other hand, on iOS, like if you click the iOS side of things, so let me just actually show this, scroll down. So main activity.cs here, that's the Android one, right? Sorry, this is for the people online. Right, and on the other hand, for iOS, there's main.cs, app.delegate.cs. This is essentially the iOS translation for what main activity is. Understood? Okay, cool. Let's dive in. What we're gonna do is after we make this app, I might show you a native Android app, one that I've made, and then you can just sort of see similarities and differences and all that, so you guys can know more about this. Right. So go back to sorry. See here. I'll show you, for those who are online, I'll show you a bit more about this soon. But going back to learn. So as we said, there's already the main activity.cs. The reason they are different is that iOS's project uses the same building as iOS, including C. Those are the languages for iOS, for native iOS development, as we talked about. The Android project uses the same building blocks as a Java or Kotlin project. So basically, because the native languages of these things are different, that's why the structure of how the app works is a little. But the good thing is, a lot of the time, you guys don't have to worry about that if you write it in Xamarin. You do this once, pretty much sorts itself out, fix it up, but 90% of the time. Okay, cool. So fundamentally, these are just an Android app and an iOS app. Just use Xamarin.iOS and Xamarin.android, respectively, to expose APIs as a C# class. To scale it back down, APIs are called linkage, but a part of the system in the device that you want to use, right? So you can have an API that allows you, right, like the data in your phone, right? What that API does is essentially whatever code you write, as read for your code. But shown as C# classes here. So since it's Xamarin, you're using C#. You don't have that Java or Kotlin or Swift or all the other native languages. Make sense? Cool. Okay, we look at the main entry point for each project type. We see that each one uses Xamarin.Forms, explicitly gives our Xamarin.Forms app the ability to control how the UI is created. It's essentially what I was saying when I was saying that it basically sorts things. In iOS, we see this in the finished launching method of the app.delegate.cs file. So let's just show you that for a bit. What is it? Okay, finished launching. Okay. So if I go into the iOS file back in Visual Studio, app.delegate.cs. Right. Is there? Cool. So it's saying, okay, namespace. In my case, it's saying appintro.ios. In this case, it's saying sample2.ios. Right at the top there, like if you right there, right? Cool. So the namespace is kind of essentially the name of the app. Register applicates, this app, right? public class update global or options. These are sort of the methods that create the basics of the application in and this file in. Okay, cool. So let's protect override void one place. Let's see. Go one line. Hello? No. That's the first thing you pretty much see on Android. So again, it's just okay. Let's just fix this up. Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure. Okay. What? Guys, sorry. Found a network issue on this side. Okay, this needs to stop. I think I'm try this again. Come on, log in.
I'm using the school.
Yeah, I was not using the school one. Was the school Wi-Fi down?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, sure, no problem. No, but it's working here. I think it's not working here, so I don't see what's going on here. Let me try this one more time. Live. Guys. This is the problem with Teams. If it could you just what's it called? Present from your end, just show Microsoft Learn from your end. I think that will be fine. Whilst I try and reconnect. Yeah, because that's what it's showing there. Huh? Is that what it's showing? Now give it, now it's showing. Thanks. Yeah, it's showing. So it's showing Taku to a screen for now. You can actually talk and present if you want. I think mine is not exactly working properly. I'm gonna try and reconnect. Okay. Cool.
Are you connected? Are you connected?
No, it's fine. That's acting up. Let me try and reconnect. Fine. Sorry, guys. Okay. So let me
No, wait, this was my, like,
Okay. Do you want to continue or?
I stopped sharing. I stopped sharing.
Oh, you know, okay, fine, I'm going to check it. You can have to do it on my Okay. Share again. It's getting annoying. Okay. Yeah, whatever. Just give me what I want to see, please. Thank you very much. Sorry, guys. I know this is getting annoying. I really know this is getting annoying. Sharing is paused. What do you mean? Where's my shared window? It's right here. There it is. Okay. So that's the first time that we chose. Just to try and load the platform development SDK. So in other words, the Java SDK for Android or the Swift or Objective-C SDK for iOS. Okay, this is where you load the Xamarin iOS or the Xamarin Android part. These two are kind of similar. Or call Xamarin.forms initialize. This is a little different. Fine. Then this one, Xamarin Essentials enables us to use many services on our devices. Which one of these is a service it helps with? This one, I think, is a little easier because I talked about this right from the start. The difference between making a more native app or making something like a web app is that you can use certain hardware components, you can use certain tools that are just in your device, right? And Xamarin allows you to do that. So what's something that's essential service that's services? B, authenticate as the C, calculator. Come on, try. Yeah? Yep, let's go location services. So let's check out. Yeah, definitely. Platform SDKs do not need to be loaded. Instead, we load this. That's it. But so, first person in this room, I'm gonna go with. Sorry, what's your name? Good to meet you. Good job. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. All of my stuff was stolen, taken by someone else, or given to you. So I don't have anything but my swag can to give. He still does. Great. So thank you for that. So whoever answered the most questions. He's already tried. So that's one question for you. You're in the lead. You had a chance to try that. You see? But okay, cool. Anyway, I'm gonna tell you what our answer is here. It's called forms in it. Because the first thing you're gonna do is basically create the Xamarin core, right? So that's the first thing. Then we do that, to look at an iOS one on Android. If you're making a native Android app, that's SDK. If you're making a load the Xamarin for iOS and after you first make the Xamarin itself. Get it? Sort of? To make sense? I hope so. Okay. Again, hold on to for down, great. Very good. Let's go. Okay, makes sense. The good application. Let's do. Still and I start having network issues again. This is being cursed, I tell you. Okay, let me see here. Okay, now you please continue. Just I sort this out. Huh? Yeah, yours is connected. Yours as well. What happened to yours? Wait, are you using network? Yeah, so I guess everyone is just getting thrown out. Huh? Yeah, you actually just have to go to the next item. Okay. Let me see, what is it saying? It's saying it's not, what's it called? Yeah, okay. Let me try it. Okay, out there. It's nice, by the way. That's what I'm I gave a lot of those away. I'm trying to do the juice bottle. Yeah. Yeah, this first one is coming really handy. That one I was never gonna give away. This first. Wait, you're on 11. Yo, this guy's using it as 11. Yes. Wait, did you use like an ISO or you just went? Oh, nice, man. Can I borrow your computer to review it for 2 days? Because like I don't say this. I'm too. Okay. So. No, I always can't. If things go wrong and the babas I'll die. Yeah, you finish your work first, so okay. Let me. Sorry guys. Let's do this quickly because login page. Need to have this up. Yeah, please have this up. Go back to, okay. So what we're just doing is we can just run the same map that we're already running there. And we'll just change the name of that to phone word. Oh, that's why I didn't copy it. The preserve function instead of. How is it using this? Did it stack? I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't think it's not good. I'm just. Yes, connect. Yeah. Yeah. No, that is no, everyone's been on that. Yeah, in right now, I'm going to connect to yours as well. But, no, you're checking what is this in terms of power and so no, this is capable running 11. I just don't want it to run 11 years. Okay, now I'm going to use my own network for this because I think I'm agreeing. Oh. We'll keep being stuck and I can't continue working like this. Doesn't make any sense. We actually have to build some version of an app today, so I'll share it. You pause on my phone? Okay, guys, let me just connect my phone. Getting good. Turn this a little warm. I don't know, working with as usual. No, but seriously, what has happened? it's like you guys know that one. Then other way, we deep a man. You guys are weird. I'm sorry. What were you? Yeah, it's for the history books, Joe. Was it? That's what it's trying to finish. It was done, not working. Yes, you guys, sorry. Okay, I think in I'm working. Okay, yeah, let's actually start doing this stuff now. Okay, so is my team still even working? Okay, just reconnect. Leave this. In shared code, it's pretty much years. Also, there's a project that's very different by each type of specific project. You get reference. This is a list of references used by the shared library. Notice that it includes a subset of that libraries. This guy, basically. Application definition, user controls, project, Google class that drives application class. This class is responsible for setting the UI. When you create a project in Visual Studio, this file will be named app.xamarin.cs and is edited as app.xamarin. This is basically about now finding your app and how to store this class sizes in the head project. That's stuff that we talked about. Some for iOS, some for Android. Okay, that's the main part. Right, now we open the main page of that containing welcome and contain welcome that form state message one. So open the main page of that. Please on your screen. Thank you so much for showing this also. We can continue to work from here. It's okay. Oh, you want? Okay, fine. It's fine. I'll share mine. Okay. So let me just go back to sharing my screen, everyone. Nonsense. Oh gosh, I hate this. Okay. Really sorry about the network issues, people, and constant online and offline connection. Is it sharing now? Please be sharing now. Almost, okay. Nah, I think that was just share views. It's fairly share offline. It's failing, like just straight up failing. So we can share our viewers. I'll actually mute, or I can just, yeah, fine. I can still show my mic, use my mic, but I think for now you can share. All right. So we're ready. Open V8. Have you? No, sorry. This is yeah. Great. So this is named sample 2 namespace. Sample 2 public portal. Main page, project page. On the main page, and so it's dominant. Don't worry about this. We'll get into that. You're sharing? You what? Maybe here, is that the C sharp here? Even? Great, great, cool. Okay, so when we go into that file, specifically, let me see here, mine as well. Just make sure everyone's on the same page. Okay, mine's opened. Right, so what it said was we should change where it says welcome to Xamarin Forms to any message we want. So for those who are online, let me show you here. Let me just try and zoom in a bit because my screen is showing a lot. You might not be able to see everything. Okay, here. So where it says static, let me see. No. Yeah, why is mine showing it and yours isn't? Let me see it. Mine is. Mine is. Maybe it's on Xamarin right here. What is you? Now you're in Xamarin too. Maybe it's on Xamarin. Double click that. There you see. There. Welcome to Xamarin Forms. Right there. Don't see it also. Cool. Okay, you guys can see it. Right, so the first thing, pretty much just finish and jump in, is this table here, forms, Xamarin Forms. What do you guys want first? Anything you choose. It can say it's rule validation, it's fine. Whatever works for you guys. Seriously, I'm serious. You guys think I'm joking, but come on, let's think of something. Nothing? Honestly? Okay, fine. Yeah, type that's what you want. Mine is actually going to say Ashibadish, but for anyone who does not understand Shona and is listening to that, they're saying this is hard. Mine is going to be saying this is easy. Okay. So just to make sure. Okay. Okay, so it does look a little, let's see. Just to check on. Okay. Doesn't sometimes look a little on everyone because mine, for example, right now shows a bit more than just that label, but it's fine. Mine has a little bit more control to it, but it's fine. Also, let me look at yours. I think that's the one that's being presented. Yeah, okay. Taguto's is a bit more different. I mean, similar to mine. You wrote Xamarin is easy. Okay, cool. So again, everyone's writing on something a little different. That's fine. Okay, jumping back into this. So wrote whatever message you wanted. Select the platform project you want to run in Solution Explorer. right-click the project node and select set as a startup project. Remember, you can't run the shared compiled project directly. You must choose one of the platform-specific projects. Depending on which platform you run on, the build will restrict the places you can deploy it. For example, iOS projects cannot be sent to Android devices or vice versa. Right, what it's basically just saying is, let's run our project. So, let's start with Android now. So you did select this. Okay, so he started with the right click here, right? This is the solution store. Right, you guys understand. When you right click the Android project, he clicks select the start project, right? When he did that, what happens is this play button is basically to test your code, right? So on that specific play button, now the first thing that pops up is that if it clicks here, I think the down arrow, like the down arrow there. If he clicks that, well, since he's still with the Android, it will show either emulate or here, code getting and he allowed his code to be testing the device for a debugging device. That's the cover term. We'll be able to run this off this phone. In fact, I'll show you and I'll run this off of my phone. On a file, you can start this up and you can see what you need. I'll introduce it. What? What? You can actually. Yeah, I know that. I'm going to show you what mine says. So I'm going to actually also select this as my starter project and then save it. Give me a sec. I mean, not give me, okay, let's see, select the starter project. Great. Can it run on mine? All right, disconnected it. So task is building on mine. Is it running on yours? No, it's not. Yeah, run it. You want to see. Oh, it's taking a while. Device management and stuff. Huh? Okay. Okay, great. So. Give it a place. Might not. Let's see. Come on, man, run. You're taking forever. On yours, it's not. On yours, it's not very. Is that like, is it showing on the code? Yeah, okay, so it's not showing on that. Wow. Okay. Let's wait. No, it's not. It's definitely. Okay. Whose machine is Okay. Anyway, here's mine. Okay, it's actually straight up showing the footer. It's also showing, but unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be showing online. But it's sitting up, that's around. So you can see the basics of the layout, and I would have it's already made. My phone is in dark mode, that's why it showed that in dark mode. Otherwise, it was, light and white background, black text. So this is just for a quickly how much Xamarin is. As you can see, what I do is pretty much like one thing and pretty much all of the rest. So it's a lot easier than it seems. I know right now you guys might not get where it's coming from, what's the tab, what's the class, etc., etc. But trust me, it gets a lot easier. And once you start getting your hands dirty and actually just trying it out, you'll find that this stuff is actually very fun to get into. So let me try this. You try to make it through. Oh, great, awesome. Okay, let's see here. Is this still even? Okay, so for those, so the teams, you guys can see that Takut is actually presenting that now. And that's what we've written so far. And as I was saying to the rest of the class, this is actually very easy to get into. And Takuzo seems to be changing part of it on the fly, which is pretty cool. But as you can see, Xamarin actually sorts out the layout for you very easy. He's actually got an iOS device that I guess he could probably test on after this using pretty much the same code. But again, it comes down to the same thing. If you were to run this on an iOS device or on an iPhone right now, it would show a very similar screen, same text and everything. I ran it on my personal device, and since my phone was in dark mode, what people were seeing was actually a dark background and white text. And that's just how much Xamarin does in terms of even creating the themes for you. So yeah, moving on to the rest of the example. We already ran the application. This was cool. Now we have to add some visual controls. So I think, let me see here. Takuzo, do you mind if I try and share for a bit? Okay, we can do that. Hopefully this time it cooperates. Okay, yeah, there. Worked just fine this time. See him send it live. Very sorry, people. I promise I'm verifying and vaccinated for everyone who's in class. And by the way, for those who are looking, we've already gone 4 out of 6 units of this module. So while it took a little longer because we're talking and having network issues in between, we've already pretty much covered the basics of starting a Xamarin. And I'm pretty sure we did it with very little difficulty, right? I think. Right, so adding the visual controls for a Xamarin mobile app. In this module, we'll learn about building the blocks, about the building blocks, sorry, of a Xamarin.Forms application and application structure, and begin by defining a custom user interface. The Xamarin.Forms app was created from our blank app templates that we start with 2 classes, the app and the main page. The .cs files are actually tucked under the app.xaml and main page.xaml file listings in Solution Explorer. So basically, I'll have to show another tab for that. Let me see. Let me switch this again, switch what I'm showing. Just give me a second, please. Right here. So what they're talking about is, if in 5 you can go back to showing it on. Oh wait, is it showing the Is it showing like the Teams meeting? Because I guess they can see it there too. But yeah, okay. Basically, what I was talking about is what it's saying is if I the tucked under part that everyone was talking about was basically saying that if I go where it says app.xaml down here, that's where you have a lot of your C# stuff. And if I go to main page.xaml, that's where you have a lot of the stuff for the main page. Those are the .cs files, main page.xaml.cs or assemblyinfo.cs. But that's about it. Continuing with that, you see, sorry. Where's my shared window? Shared window is right here. What's your problem? Let me go back to it. Okay, go back to Teams. Just problem is when I share my whole screen for whatever reason, that's when I start having issues. When I don't, I'm fine. Anyway, let's go back here. Right, so what's in a Xamarin.Forms project? You should probably show that from Learn. Cool, yeah. The Xamarin.Forms app was created from our blank app template that we started. Okay, no, we talked about this. Sorry, application class. The app class represents our Xamarin.Forms application as a whole and inherits from Xamarin.Forms.application. We'll recall from the last unit that app class is instantiated and loaded by what are called head projects, right? So the .iOS and .android files, those are the head projects. The constructor of the app class will in turn usually set its own main page property, and it's this property that will control the first screen that the user sees. The app class also has methods of handling lifecycle events, including when an app is running in the background. That is when it ceases to be the foreground app. Events to respond to changes in the modal stack. There's a type of navigation discussed in another module. And a property called properties. This is a property bank that automatically persists any data added onto it. Now, pages. So pages of the root UI hierarchy in Xamarin.Forms. Sorry, pages are the root of the UI hierarchy in Xamarin.Forms. In other words, everything is essentially controls and a page, right? Therefore, there's a class called the main page. This class derives from the content page, which is the most common page type. A content page is content, or is content. Xamarin.Forms is other application as well. Or, of course, as some of you may have picked up by now, it would be cool if you obviously go and solve Visual Studio. I think that Studio now is as easy as it actually is. So trust me to bother on this, put an hour of your time into it. You probably go through this much faster than we have. We're stopping to like explain everything, and not all of this might have to be explained to all of you. So we know that to display stuff in an app, or use the content page. So let's start to figure out how to build a page that we want later in the way of study. So the few most common are seen here. Basically, there's a label, right? That's essentially when text is right at the top there. So a label that shows there's a profile page, there's an app, etc. There's entry, so that essentially when you enter text or text or something we call them is a loading bar. there's a slider for if you need to zoom in, zoom out. This, and as I said, there's other ways. Right? There's an image buttons, there's floating buttons and all that other stuff. Okay, so the using Xamarin Forms use the event handling property and property patterns that we see in other .NET based UI frameworks. For example, you can create a new button with its .text property and then .click to get subscriber with the following code. So what it's essentially saying, if you write this button, me, the button is clicked here, void or click object, center, event objects, whatever. This will make it do something. Right now it's just writing do something in there, but basically, what I say here, right, is the same code we saw up here, right? Putting this code and me works this way. It works this way because for projects. The platform form ways to get a is what is it? Layout at the top, there's a button right under it. And there's, I don't know, an image or something else under that, and there's that, right? Then there's an absolute layout. What it tries to do is kind of fit everything in the best way possible. A relative layout also does that. A grid layout. And we had entries, which is that text box we talked about.
then we had a button at the bottom of it. So it can apparently, yeah. So actually, it's like we said, it's visible. If we would so landscape using it. Let's say actually because of the size of the text. So instead automatic, but then when it goes to horizontal view, it's made a little smaller so that it works within the result. So now that we have stack layout with controls added to it, we need to add a layer. You would add this assignment to make the layout display on the content page. So where it says this content is equal to layout, that would be it. That's all. Now each row has a property that's respected by the layout. The logic has the control pushing others away. Property that keeps children from getting too close to the layout. I feel like it's stuff that's better explained to actually try and put it into practice. Now, okay. Questions? By the way, if you're forgetting, Mufaro is still leading. Mufaro, sorry, still leading. So if anyone wants to get in on that, now would be a chance. So which one of these is not a layout type in Xamarin Forms? Dockable layout, relative layout, stack layout, or grid? Anyone? Oh, yeah. What? Okay, let's go then. Dockable layout. He's coming in because he's a committee member. What is the class used to create a screen in Xamarin Forms? Screen, page, view, or grid? Come on, that is easy. It's fun again. Page. Okay, cool. Anyone else? Not you. You don't. Oh, wait. Sorry. Hi. What's your name again? I remember. Tanata, right? Yeah, we talked this. Tanata, choose me. Okay, fine. So we got one for page, one for view. You don't count. Okay, last one. Does Xamarin Forms create native controls? Oh, it's not the last one. There's two more. Sorry. Does Xamarin Forms create native controls for each platform at runtime? Yes or no? But we talk about native controls is just that stuff I was talking about with the buttons and stuff. So does it create them as soon as you run the application? That's essentially at runtime. Yes or no? Dennis, this one's you, bro. It's what? It's a no. Okay, we'll go with no. All right, and the last one. What Xamarin.form page is usually used for stack-based navigation and gives you a back button to navigate to the previous stack? Yeah, I'll let you guys guess on this one. This one's open to it, but I'm not choosing. Page, stack page, navigation page. Again, read it again. Which page is used for stack-based navigation and gives you a back button to navigate to a previous page. Yeah. Navigation page. All right. So just to go through these questions, dockable layout was set by him, so that was not counted. And which class is used? View, that's the NATWA. Does Xamarin create unique controls at each runtime? That was Dennis, he said no. Then Mufaro came back with navigation page. Let's check out it.
Oh wait, you already said it. Okay, so this is it. So with view, yeah. So I did here as a page, right? Yeah, here as a page. So let's try it. Every time it creates that, what we're talking about, implementation, where it's quickly, right? You wrote quickly code. As soon as the application runs, it creates quickly with so it does create codes. Oh, good. Oh, so pretty much just take the one. Scroll down. Scroll down. Okay, so then another type of view and then work out. And the last one, just take the guys 93 points. Yeah. Seriously, this person has 3 points. You're letting this guy just go away. This is practical now. Yeah, this is on that. We need to finish this up because I know you guys are tired. Very sorry, very sorry. Seriously, I don't want this to feel like it's an actual lecture. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Okay. Would you guys do everything that's excellent? We'll see by the end of the week. If you need help, of course, we're open. If you need help, I'll totally be there to help you out. Yeah, I think no one else is left online now. But yeah, so I can give you the link for this specific module that we're doing. And it's going to be super easy every year. But the main part is how installing Visual Studio and then installing mobile /module. But it's really easy. Let me actually maybe, I think defects social, right? Yeah. But when you install it, this is still there. When you install, no, I mean, yeah, exactly. So when you install the Visual I was able to community edition. You just try and install. Just try to open Visual Studio 319. Check out the codes. So when you hit it, install. Is what? You get 3 openness, 3 Visual Studio, 3 Space, a few things. So you guys know what I'm Anyway, this is what we show you. This is some of the basic stuff that's when you're installing benefits in any area, right? This is stuff that will get you the video chat. This will be fine. The way to start. If you have any problems, please tell me. I will give you questions. Yeah, make sure you play on this because it's going to take a while to download. That's the truth. Or if you have an installed Visual Studio,
anything you can have. And then you install, like in one point, like offline, this you install. Yeah. You can get it offline installed, and not install that. Yeah, once you do that, okay. So let's just go and try this. I swear, I promise this. And it's really easy. It's honestly a lot easier. We need to have a sure to explain it. And then look at it, you go back to learn and show me this. And let me know. Although this language is not so easy. But, and I doesn't place it over there. Because I was saying, at first, try and actually develop this clear. You're looking at the code, you go on the whole part, G type in. And after that, you somehow make it some type so it's copy it's for this yeah, okay. We'll go up and go basic, make sure you have you'll see it. You'll see it. This is also the so in this case, when each and translated on something is we actually call the user code standard. So it's actually really simple, but you would actually make it content. But that's it's not so okay, so with those summary, try. So, basically, those items once in Java and C. Basically, they did it once and applies for both platforms. The second concept of instead of create, minimize the development time, you can access the phone style, but something that's native environment. So those were the skills. To like a team, the experience for stakeholder based on the and by continuing to do this, that's really going to be like outage free certification and stuff. Certification use special time. The next one to make more and releasing more areas I think start now. Thanks so much for your engagement.
to start a user. Again, easy Microsoft use this. So do something together, like 12 together, and try to see something. I mean, it is like there's an thorough committee member, very helpful, as you can see. Also, yes, we're getting unfortunately on one from my, but I think they call names. It's too limited list. Please. It's out and problems. Sorry. No, but yeah, the station is there. Yeah, I think the okay, very sorry about the metric. More information in the WhatsApp group, and we'll be leaving details for that there. But again, thank you all for your time, and see you next time.